Hello and welcome to the Dragon and the Phoenix podcast, where we're not afraid to talk about the paranormal, dish on pop culture, and just be our weird, wonderful selves. Craig, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. How are you doing?
I am well. I'm so excited about the topic of this podcast. The title of this podcast is The Ghosts Among Us, where we're going to talk about some of our experiences with the paranormal, with ghosts around us. And Craig, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about our family?
Well, our family has, we'll say we have history of the paranormal. The house that we grew up in and other family houses also had paranormal activity in it. So we kind of grown up with it. The current house I'm in is very active, and we're really not the house, mostly the shop in the woods that I live in. So we have strange experiences from shadow people to partial apparitions. I don't really see the people; I see half of them. And then to like white lights, if you want to say that correctly, white lights in the woods. So they're more like globes in the woods. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's happening, even objects being thrown and stuff. So it's quite interesting living in this house.
Yeah, one of my first experiences happened when I was really young. It was at our grandparents' house, which when we grew up, our grandparents were literally like across the field. They were less than a quarter mile away. So we stayed over there a lot. And I was staying in an upstairs bedroom. It was right up at the top left of the stairs. It was a really cool room. It had built-in bookshelves around the bed. And it largely was what it had been when our parents were growing up, how it looked and had been maintained. I was staying there one night, was asleep. Something woke me up in the middle of the night. When I looked up, there was a figure sitting on the end of the bed. I didn't recognize the figure. It was a woman who was reading a book. And I thought, well, maybe it's grandma. Well, then the figure disappeared. Didn't walk out of the room, just disappeared. A few weeks later, I had kind of been unsettled by the experience. Didn't tell anyone, but we were looking through a family photo album with my grandmother, and she turned the page and there was the woman. And I was like, wait a minute, who is that? And she said, well, that's grandpa's sister. She died many years before you were born. And I was like, oh, but she's still here. She was that's who was on the end of the bed. So that was, grandma didn't want to hear anything about that, but that was really my first experience, and it's not the last. My house that I currently live in, I'm pretty sure has a spirit, friendly. It's never really caused any real problems, likes to make noise, walks up and down the stairs. I've occasionally seen orbs of light come down the stairs. But the thing that has really been interesting about it is all that activity happens when I don't have children in the house. I'm a foster mom, and we've had various sets of children through our house. And every time we get a new set of children, I always say, you're welcome to stay. I know you enjoy kind of scaring me, but don't do anything to the kids. And during those periods, the happenings disappear. And we've had our daughter, who we adopted in December, in our house for the last 3 years. And like, I've had no activity whatsoever in the last 3 years. But our house is over 100 years old, well over 100 years old. There's a long family history before us in this house. So I don't doubt that there might be some residual hauntings around in this house. There is a old chest in the attic that we haven't moved. It has some christening dresses in
Yes,
it.
I remember that chest. Yeah.
Has some christening dresses, has some army jackets. And I feel like I don't want to move that out of the house because I don't want to make anything angry. So it's still up there. It stays up there. I did take one doily out of it, and it sits over here to my left, actually on a a cabinet to my left, just as kind of honoring the history of the house and those that came before us. So Craig, that's kind of some of my early experiences. I know you had one a couple years ago at one of our other family houses that really left you shook up.
Yes, that was the night I will never forget. Some people don't know I am 6'7", over 300 pounds, so I'm a big guy. Okay,
Big guy.
so we get to the house, and it's like an old house. It has electricity, but it had no. It was like old. It was meant to stay in time, so it was like I don't think it had a flat screen. It had like a tube screen,
Yep.
tube TV. Had no air conditioning because the air conditioning it wasn't working at the time.
It's also in northern Michigan.
It just felt the house felt, yeah, it just felt the house felt off. We will get in that a little bit later, but yeah, there's this one particular room. It was like, if I remember correctly, it was all white. And there was something in the corner of the room. There was a dresser, but it was like two small beds. So I went to lay in there one night, and then suddenly I ended up flying out of my bed. So that startled me, and I will never sleep in that house again. So I don't know what I don't know if it was just to scare me or what. Let know it was there, but I kind of already knew it was there. So, yeah, that was a little startling. But when I was younger, my first experience with paranormal, I believe 6 or 7. I was pretty young. It'll be the room next to me. I always remember playing on the floor, playing with like building blocks and stuff like that, Legos. And I would always have a black shadow walk past the room real fast. But I would always see an outline of a woman's face. I wouldn't say body, but I always sensed it was a woman. So we always would say that we had a family member named Graham. I forget what relation she was, but we always see that. And then growing up, teenager wise, I would hear we had a bathroom that had a rolling cabinets that had just drawers, and that would roll open. And I would hear that, and I would hear it open and close on some nights. And so when we had it remodeled, we removed the cabinet and everything. I don't hear it anymore. So that's another experience. I have told the spirits to stay out of the house, which they do, but they like to roam the other parts of the area as well. So
yeah, you've had quite the experience in your shop area.
Yes, in my shop. I'm still trying to get evidence. I do have one of these tools right here, EMF detector. I just recently bought. I have a voice recorder as well, electronic voice recorder. I wish I could buy the other equipment, but that's so expensive. Maybe in the future, but yes, the shop. I would always joke on Facebook. I have my Facebook page, and I always joke that Casper came, and that's when I would have an event happen. I've had objects, tools thrown, 4-foot long level fly across the shop for no reason. I never find it violent. I think it's just trying to get attention. But I was working at the most one I remember the most is I was working at the bandsaw. And when you're working at the bandsaw, you have your head down. So I had my head down, and I always have back in the day, I had friends that would come over and just show up and try to scare me while I'm working. So I was on the bandsaw. I saw a pair of cowboy boots and jeans. I was thinking, oh, it's one of my friends. They're going to scare me. So I finished what I was cutting out, and I looked up, and there was nobody there, and the cowboy boots and everything was gone. So I'm thinking it's possibly maybe a family member. I don't know. See, where our family home is on grounds that's been around a long time. So over probably 200 years, I would say. So, but I also have, I do have a memorial in there of a late great friend who tragically passed. Uh, he could be, his spirit could be, it's called object detachment. I believe, and I do believe in object detachment, or not detachment, attachment. And I, he didn't usually wear cowboy boots, so I didn't think it was him at the time. But I also do have my grandfather's John Deere tractor, and maybe it could have been him, but he never wore cowboy boots. He always wore work boots. But we were talking about this earlier before this podcast, and you mentioned that one of my uncles wore cowboy boots at one time. So maybe he was just stopping by, checking up on me or something, which is nice. But yes, the shop is active. I would always have tools, act weird, loose power, stuff like that. I've never seen any orbs. The only time I've seen orbs is out in the woods. I have many experiences out in the woods. I've seen shadow figures run through the woods real fast. I have a dog as well. I forgot to mention at the first episode, Gypsy Rose. She's a German Shepherd. And when I first got her, she would always growl at the hallway and there would be nobody there. And I'd be like, get out. And then she would stop growling. So I do believe dogs can, and animals can sense spirits as well. But every time I let her out, she would just run for no reason towards the fence, and there's nothing out there, because I would have spotlights out there, look for like raccoons or possums, something like that. She's always staring at something in the woods. It could be deer, you know. My spotlight doesn't go that far. Plus, I live in a pretty wooded area, so. But yeah, they seem to be just outside, which is fine. They don't need to be inside. We do have a bench that needs to go. I do believe
Yes,
there
it does.
is something. Yes, I believe there is something connected to that. So I would like it to get out. So, but yeah, I just people wonder how do you cope with this stuff, and it's just normal for me now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just normal. When it happens, I just say hello and stuff, and it's never nothing evil yet. Hopefully, I don't run into that situation. If I do, I know a certain store where to go to get stuff now. So, but yeah, like and also experiences out of. I believe both of us have really experienced stuff outside of our houses as well.
Yeah, I've been in Gettysburg. I've been in several other historical battlefields. Our family likes to travel a lot, and we visit a lot of historical places. And those places are always very uncomfortable for me, not just because of the knowledge that what happened there, but they always just feel off. There's a energy that you can't really even explain what it feels like. But it's not unpleasant, but it's not pleasant. Like you just feel weird.
Yeah, what's the feeling I get? It's like well, since I also, I didn't mention this in the first episode, I do suffer from panic attack disorder and depression and stuff, but I'm getting better, don't worry. But it kind of feels like a panic attack, but it's a heaviness in my head. I just kind of, you kind of focus on one point of the area. So our family does kind of have, we do have Native American in our blood, Chippewa, I believe, and I believe it was Sioux way back in the day, but more Chippewa, more I believe, on our mother's side. So our family is very, you could say, sensitive to certain things. We detect and see things that normally people don't, well, I wouldn't say normal people, but other people don't really detect on. So like I would say like going to we'll put the plug out there, Face Cabinet. I have experienced they have experienced paranormal activity there as well, but I have actually seen a shadow person there. So I just mind my own business and stuff. But and then going to like friends' houses. There was particularly one house. It's been rented by numerous people. They always would see a dark shadow of a man. I saw the dark shadow of a man. They would talk about it, but they would kind of keep it hush hush. And they were surprised I saw it too. But that's another thing about it is a lot of people in this area don't talk about ghosts. They want to keep it quiet. But we're very open about the paranormal. So people don't realize Indiana actually has a lot of paranormal areas. They say Indiana is not weird, but actually it is. So.
Well, I think it's interesting. I was having this discussion with my husband the other night, and he always likes to say he's the Scully to my Mulder. For him, he's a skeptic. He said if he shook hands with a ghost, he probably still wouldn't believe it was actually there. But I think, for us, it's something we've all experienced so much that, it's just normal for us. And, other people may not have had those same experiences, so they can't believe, won't believe. And that's fine, until they do. Maybe if they do, not everybody's going to. But until they do, they aren't going to have that level of comfort with discussing it either. Some people might think it's strange or weird, but for us, it's just what happens. Our sister too has lots of stories. We'll have to have her on sometime to talk about them, about visiting various places and seeing things and feeling things and it not being comfortable. I know in particular, she went to the Pearl Harbor Memorial and had an experience there. So I think for us, it's just part of our everyday life. Fortunately, not every day. It's not like I'm seeing ghosts everywhere, or experiencing it every day, but my mind is open to letting an experience happen if it does.
Yes, it's like I said, it's every day. Well, not every day, but it's just normal for us. So, a lot of people haven't grown up with it. Some are located, but I always believe that ghosts are everywhere. They just don't stay in one spot. But some people, I won't say lucky, but just have normal grow up or have been raised a certain way too, and they haven't had the experiences like we've had, which are interesting. But anyway, it's I'm hoping to get I want to be one of those people to catch evidence what's going on at our property. But you were talking about, I remember that chest in the attic, and there was a mason. There was a box that had mason. There were masons, the previous owners.
Freemasons.
Freemasons. Yes, that word. And Did you ever, you left that alone, right?
Yeah, I haven't touched anything in that chest except for that one doily. I just don't even want to mess with it.
Yeah.
I don't need no ghosts in my house any more than there already are.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be skeptical at first. I believe in science. I hold science to huge standards. But I'm always going to be skeptical when I have an experience, but I'm also not going to immediately discount it. Just had too many to be like, yeah, that didn't happen, or they can all be explained away by coincidence, or the dog walking or anything. But I also am not going to be so closed off to this thought that something is actually happening.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like out my shop, I have tools fall, but that's also from like vibration when I'm uh, hammering on the workbench, or wood pieces of wood that fall and stuff like that. That's all from vibration from my air compressor. But when you have a 4 foot long level fly across that was hanging on the wall and then fly across the room, that's something totally different. But yes, I'm also into science as well and stuff like that. But where I was getting at before is, how many places I have been to that people don't believe in ghosts, but yet I sense the ghost in their house. I've seen the previous owner standing there, or the loved ones that have passed. I have sensed them. I've actually heard voices and stuff too. But I don't want to name those people because I'm afraid a backlash. That's another reason too, is especially my area is really hate to get in the word religious, but there's a certain way to not say things, and so I just keep on the down low. So,
Well, Craig, I think we had one more thing we wanted to discuss before we go for this week. And that was a photo that surfaced this week from the Amarillo Zoo. They actually sent out a photo, and I'll put it up here on the screen. They sent out a screen capture from a video that they recorded by their security system outside of the fence of the zoo. And this photo has the internet and social media going crazy because it's really hard to explain what the image is. It looks like something walking on two legs, facing the camera. Other than that, I don't know what to call it. The zoo itself even said, is this a chupacabra? Who knows? Because it's certainly looks strange, and I'm really not sure what title to put on it.
according to Dustin Rhodes of AEW, it's a chupacabra. But yes, I've seen that photo. Yes, I've seen that photo. It's very hard to detect because it's at night. It's kind of far away. Personally, I don't know what it is. It's kind of scary. People think coyote, but the back, if you notice, the back is in the knees. There's actually knees, and then like the arms, there's actual arms, like humanoid. It's like a humanoid creature. So actually, I don't know what it is, unless it's a very hairy man. I don't know, but I don't know what it is. It's kind of weird that the zoo put it out there. So it's nice to see that.
Yeah, it was interesting that the zoo was the one that published the photo and was asking for help in figuring out what it was. They said no animals had been harmed or the zoo hadn't been breached. But it's very difficult looking at that photo. You see the legs one way, like figuring out, okay, so maybe it is a coyote, like a coyote up on the fence. But even if you think it's a coyote that's got its feet up on the fence, the anatomy doesn't work. Like it's the weirdest standing coyote ever, if that's what it is. You know, a lot of people have said skinwalker, given that you're in Texas. There's, you know, chupacabra has been a common answer by a lot of the people on the internet. But you know, it's interesting. It's such a mystery that everybody's kind of taken hold of, and run with. It'll be interesting to see if we get any further answers, or if they capture any further images from that creature, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if you know, if they make that the photo better. You know, so
Yeah, maybe they can put a trail camera out there, a trap camera, and see if they can get another image of whatever it was. So, well, I think that is it for this week. Craig, do you have any more thoughts you want to leave us with about ghosts?
if you come across anything harmful, just stand your ground and tell them stay your house, stay if you're at the house, and they will leave you be. And if it's a nice ghost, just try to honor it in some way, like Heather did with bring a memory of that person. But if you don't want them in your house, there is different ways of doing that. You could get some sage and stuff, or bless your house, whatever religion you are, and yeah, just remember, you never know what's out there. So.
Well, whatever you believe, whether you think there are ghosts among us or you're a skeptic who is still looking for that solid proof that there might be things beyond what we can normally see, we hope you have a great week, and thank you for joining us on the Dragon and the Phoenix. So until next time, rise up
And breathe fire.